pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Victor, can you please?
Yes, sir. Prayer. Father God in heaven, creator of the universe, we thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this air in our lungs. Thank you for this skin on our bones, God. Thank you for all the little things that we forget to thank you for on a daily basis. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your wisdom. God, help us. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Need a roll call, please?
Counselor Johnson?
Here.
Counselor Lorenz?
Here.
Counselor Segola?
Here.
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Counselor Ellithorpe will not be present this evening, but a quorum is declared.
No modifications?
No modifications.
Approval of consent agenda?
Move we approve the consent agenda.
And I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any more discussion? Nita?
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Segola?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Proclamations, communications, and appointments. 1 year service.
No, let's just not pay attention to
And the other two aren't going to be here tonight, I take it? Dave and Vic? Okay, thank you, Rob. Citizen comments and special presentations. In order to be included in this portion of the agenda, please file appropriate form with the city clerk no later than noon on Monday prior to the meeting. San Luis Valley Local Food Coalition. Not here, I take it?
They're not here.
What do we do in that case? Do we let you explain what they're here for, or what their request was?
So last year you gave them a $500 donation to run at the farmers market, and they're requesting the same amount this year and permission to be able to run at farmers market.
You guys remember that flasher? So we want to go ahead and talk about that? Did they give a reason why you weren't going to be here, Anita?
No, I hadn't heard from any of them. The last I knew they were going to be here, but I can, in your packet, there is a request, and it's the Mobile Kitchen sponsorship. The SLV Local Foods Coalition is a nonprofit organization that has served the Monte Vista Farmers Market for years with a mobile kitchen for nutrition, education, and food justice through meals using local agriculture products. We would like to request a $500 sponsorship from the City Council to help us continue to serve the Monte Vista community in 2019.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So this seems a little awkward because the applicant's not present. If you had any questions for him, y'all did fund that last year. And I'm wondering if you might want to table this until your next meeting and see if a representative can come and answer any questions and make a presentation.
When is,
It's already ongoing, there's not a problem with them operating this at the farmer's market. The issue would be really the donation. So,
I think it's appropriate that they come and be able to answer questions and be at the meeting.
Agreed. I move to table the, do we need a motion? Move to table the San Luis Valley Food Coalition request until the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to table the San Luis Valley Food Coalition until the next meeting. Any more discussion? Nita?
Counselor Segola?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to table. And that next meeting will be August 1st.
San Luis Valley Federal Bank.
Second question. You're on your own, Carla.
Hi, thank you for entertaining us. I am Carla Shriver. This is Bill Fassett. We are directors of the San Luis Valley Federal Bank, and the rest of our team here tonight is Mark Beshaver and Joe Martinez, who's here to help us if Bill and I get stumped on some of our questions. San Luis Valley Federal Bank has been an institution in the San Luis Valley since 1899 and is a local mutual bank and has members. And the city of Monte Vista is a member of the San Luis Valley Federal Bank because you folks have a deposit with us. A mutual bank, we are a membership, we are very community driven, and we want to maintain that. What we're looking for is, as y'all know, or I hope most people know, the financial industry is heavily regulated. And what we're trying to do is position ourselves for the future. And it takes time to do this. And so the board of directors and senior management have come up with a plan to position San Luis Valley Federal for our future and vision looking down the road. And to do that, we are proposing to go to a mutual holding company structure. And that will increase our ability and flexibility to maneuver as we move forward in the future. And again, the federal or the financial industry is heavily regulated, so if you aren't positioned, you may lose opportunities to do things. So what we're trying to do is position ourselves. So again, it'll help us do organizational and operational flexibility, and it will also help us increase our ability to raise capital in case we need to in the future. There's no plans at this time, but again, we're just positioning ourselves so that we can do that. We're going to retain our mutual status, no changes. Actually, the general public, our depositors, membership will see no physical changes. We're still FDIC insured. Your accounts are safe. We are one of the strongest capitalized banks in the valley. And again, we see no change in our operational and our staff, the way we function. That all will stay the same. What we're here requesting tonight, we're not asking for money. So What we are asking is that the city received several, or at least one, we did send out another mailing the other day, but there were proxies that went out, and that was part of the process. What we're hoping for is, one, that the city will consider voting, and then there's two options. One is for the bank to form as a holding company, and then two is against. Of course, we're recommending that you vote for. But, that's our request tonight. There's several ways you can, if should you approve, or even if you wanted to vote against, there's several ways to vote. You can do it, return the proxy via mail, you can call in, and you can vote on the website. And so, again, that is our request. We would entertain any questions. Bill, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
I guess one thing I would add is, if you don't choose not to vote at all, that's the same as a no vote. So we really would appreciate it if you would vote, or you would obviously hope that you would vote for it, since the bank is basically owned by depositors, being a mutual organization. Depositors are the ones who own the bank, in essence. We would appreciate a vote for the plan. And we need to get a simple majority of the votes in order to have the plan apply for
Yeah, I have a question. I've read through the, I was going to say prospectus, but the whole proposition, and it's pretty complex. And I do understand some of the financial industry, but maybe just in a very layman's sense, explain the difference between your mutual company now, okay, and you are looking to reorganize as a holding company.
Correct.
And what does that mean exactly?
Okay. What basically that means, right now, we are, like you say, we're a mutual organization similar to the Monte Vista Co-op, same basic plan. And so there's just one organization, just the San Luis Valley Federal Bank. It's a mutual thrift. And what we will do with this reorganization is that will be three tiers. The San Luis Valley Federal Bank will be a wholly owned subsidiary of Colorado Mutual Bank Corp. And then Colorado Mutual Bank Corp will be wholly owned by the Colorado Mutual Holding Company. And again, what this would allow us to do is raise more capital if we ever needed to be. That's, I guess, can't conceive that would be a factor at this point in time, but you never know. But it would allow us to make any acquisitions on a quicker and easier basis. One of the things that would be a little challenging is a mutual organization. If we wanted to grow and acquire a stock bank, that could be kind of a challenge, trying to meld a mutual organization and a stock organization. So this would allow us to do that, and those two entities might actually be kept separate from an operating standpoint, but basically owned under one umbrella.
Yeah, from a tier standpoint, from the middle, it would come out, and each entity, as Bill said, would retain its same independence, but they're owned by the
Well, that does simplify things a bit, so knowing that Colorado Mutual Bank Corp is not a separate company. That's kind of the idea that I got, and I couldn't quite meld that together. So you're creating Colorado Mutual Bank Corp as a holding company for San Luis Valley.
Right.
It makes perfectly good sense.
And from an operational standpoint, nobody will see any differences. Policies will remain the same, the board will remain the same, staff will remain the same. No change in account numbers, service charge structures, interest rate structures, products, or anything else.
Okay, this is just for us looking down the road for vision in case we need to make some changes. We don't know. There's nothing in the works right now, but that could all change in 6 months. But this process that we started, almost a year and a half ago. It takes time to do these things by the time you go through the regulatory agencies. The paperwork is very complex. So again, we're just trying to get our ducks in a row in case we do want to do something in the future.
And it'll make us considerably more competitive.
And more flexible, yeah,
Yep.
sounds like, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Are you getting a good response from the community? Are people responding or?
I have not.
People are responding, it's a little bit slow. I think a lot of it is, you're getting the thing in the mail and people are just sitting on the national pickup or on the side, so that's what we're struggling with. We have to have the majority vote, so where it goes back to the difference between a stock bank and a mutual such as us, is you depositors, members of the bank, and that's why we're coming to you, because you have one vote per $100 deposit. So the city of Monte Vista holds a significant amount of votes, so that's why we're out chasing and trying to push for it, because it is important. It's strategically setting us up today for down the future, or down the road into the future. So we want to continue the business that we're doing today as a mutual. So that's why we created holding companies. And by doing this today down the road, if another management team comes in or board comes in down the road and wants to make some changes, we'll always retain our mutuality, because the holding company at the top is going to retain 51% of the holdings. 51%. So but we'll always have, we're not going to have somebody who's going to come in and just open us and say, hey, the bank's here, the bank's solid, we want to turn it into a stock bank. Then you run the chance that the depositors who have the most on deposit actually take a charge in that. So it's a good thing, and we strongly encourage you guys to do this. We have a deadline coming up the 29th, so we're out pushing hard. So there's a couple ways to vote, as Carla said. Vote by email, phone number, run it by the bank. It's a good
Want to do it
thing.
tonight? We'll anchor it.
You're not going to see any changes in how the bank is doing business.
How does the-
Strategically setting us up today for the future.
Good.
So it's a good thing.
So how does the voting structure change at all? Or does it? Won't? Okay,
That's why we're retaining mutuality.
all right.
Does that affect the star rating of the bank at all, making changes like this?
And as Carla and Bill said, we're very strong, we're very, very well capitalized. One of the strongest banks in the state of Colorado, so outside of the valley. And we retain way more than what our OCC or the regulator requires to retain. So it's not that we're struggling for capital by any means. We're, I think, around numbers here, the feds require 78% capital, we're 25, 26% capitalized. So that's one of the benefits of a mutual. We're not paying out the stockholders. We're able to give back to the community and let that do it. But I would strongly encourage you guys to vote.
So I guess, going back, there's two things. One, it's asking that the city do vote, and the council make a motion to vote, and then secondly, that if we
Any other questions?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, and I guess another request, on an individual basis, if you folks have accounts at San Luis Valley Federal, on an individual basis, we would encourage you to vote also as an individual, and also consider voting in a favorable manner. Again, we're just trying to structure ourselves for the future, and for the valley, because we do so much for the valley, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Forrest, do you have anything to add to this?
Not much, Mr. Mayor. If it's the council's pleasure, you can decide to vote yea or nay on that and authorize staff to submit your votes electronically, and we can take care of that in either direction if you care to vote. Certainly, I'd just say from my own standpoint, I actually had a conversation with Mr. Bussey regarding this and read the materials, got those at home as well, but it makes a lot of sense. I think for the bank, and you read there's a lot of restrictions on how the bank could evolve, but it is a good opportunity, I think, for them to position themselves for the future. So, this is my thoughts on it.
Thank you, Forrest.
I think we should vote. Just like they said,
I'd make a motion for council to.
No, it's got to be one or the other.
No.
Positive or a negative. Right. So, yes, make a motion to vote yes.
So you're making a motion to vote yes.
So let's vote yes. Make a motion to vote yes for that.
Second on this?
I'll second that, what he said.
So we have a motion to vote yes for the San Luis Valley Federal Bank. Is there any more discussion? Nita?
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Counselor Segala?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
That motion is to vote yes for the San Luis Valley Federal Bank.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. MDS Rotating Recycling Center. Are they here? Forrest, are you representing MDS? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a
It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilors. So this first part on NDS is actually just an informational piece. The council previously expressed the desire to step up recycling in the city, and, you know, MDS does offer as an additional service to their customers curbside recycling. But they'd also talked about this last year at some point of creating kind of a roving recycling center. And they sent me a letter, well, the city a letter in June that said, hey, we're going to do this. Would you accept that service? And on behalf of the city, based on our prior conversations between myself, council, and actually staff, I said, sure, why not? Initial service actually was today, and then they'll be here every 2 weeks and they'll charge by the pound, but as long as the items are acceptable, and that's included in your packet, we'll push out some information. They've advertised in the newspaper as well. You can bring qualified items, they don't have to be sorted, and they just charge by the pound. So it kind of enhances the recycling opportunities. They also have recycling clean stream, if you will, at the regional landfill. So they're kind of stepping up the recycling game. As you recall, Waste Management never really responded to our request for recycling services or information, which may be of interest this December when they come back for their renewal, but that's all up to you all to figure out. But MDS is definitely stepping up. You know, they get a truckload and they run it up to Denver, and I'm going to guess that they don't make much money on it, but it's a service that's valuable to the community. So this was just generally in your packet to let you know that they're going to be doing this every other week. Timing is good, so they're here this week, and then they'll be the week after Stampede, so the first week of August they'll be back. And it'll always be here on Thursdays, so we'll help push the word out a little bit more, but I thought you all would be pleased to know that they're actually doing this.
Good. I read that article in the paper. It's really good.
We've had their curbside recycling for a year now, and it's commingled, it's simple to do, and I was stunned how much we can divert into recycling rather than going to the landfill. And they arrive at the same time. The guys on the truck are helpful if you have questions. The office is really helpful if you have a question about if this can go in the recycle bin or not. They take like some large items like kids' plastic toys and things like that now that can be recycled. And I think it's a really valuable service myself.
Pretty good.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you the next one up? Proposed
I
sales
am.
tax presentation?
That's why I'm still standing here.
Really? Like your tie. Nice you dressed up for this presentation.
Thank you. Well, you know, the city attorney and I have a playbook for this, so. Okay, so. All right, so in your packets this evening, you have a copy of this PowerPoint presentation This is a draft of information that will be available to you all, assuming you decide to go forward with this 1 cent tax election for the public. This is not a formal action tonight. It's an opportunity for you to review the materials that are in the PowerPoint. There's also a brochure, both of which were designed by our finance director, Jenny Sines, who has many talents. It would have taken me 3 years to do this PowerPoint. So we appreciate her doing that. And then the staff had a lot of input, particularly the police department, Chief Rosecrans and Mr. Vance. From the public works standpoint, I think it's well thought out, the components that we discussed with council previously, which really are police services, street services, and then Sky High. So I'm going to go through the PowerPoint tonight, and I would ask that if you all have any questions after that, we can discuss them tonight, but have a couple of weeks to look at it. We'll be coming back to you all with the actual legislation. I'm still working with our bond counsel, Thomas Peltz from Kutak Rock. We have a resolution which he's approved. We're still working on the Tabor question a little bit. I think it's fine, but he's an attorney, and so he's making sure we cross our T's and dot our I's. The question's essentially done, but he just wants to make sure it's all kosher, and he's pretty much doing this pro bono for us. As you recall, Kutak Rock, he was involved in our refinancing of our bonds and actually a couple of our previous, the city's previous bond deals. So he's very knowledgeable about the city and our market, so he'll be working on that. If the council goes ahead with this will be for the election this November. So without further ado, I'm just going to kind of go through this, and we'll see how we do. I don't even know how to run this thing, so that'll be good. Press the little
Arrow.
There we go. Okay. So, basically what this is an informational piece, and I'll be very clear that staff's role in one of these elections is to provide information. Because it's an election, it is up to you, actually the elected officials, and your designees who are not staff members to go out and talk to the public about this. So this PowerPoint is designed as something that's portable that you can take with you. You'll notice in your packet it may not look exactly like what's here because, Microsoft products don't talk to each other well. And Adobe doesn't talk particularly well with Microsoft products, but the PowerPoint that you see, sans any changes you all suggest, is what we've got that's good to go. So the expectation of this tax, and I think that, that works, is that the purpose of it is to look at street improvements to Sky High Park, particularly the multi-purpose building, and for the police department. Included in this is facts about the streets, a review of the city's revenue, the impact or anticipated impact from the dedicated 1 cent project fund, process and structures of the dedicated 1 cent project fund, and timelines. So, while we're optimistic that sales tax in our community continues to grow, and it is growing incrementally, it's not keeping up with all of our community's needs, particularly the area of law enforcement and street improvements, particularly street maintenance and new paving type projects and improvements to Sky High. As you all know, the Friends of Sky High Park are working on a new multi-purpose building. That is a daunting challenge for them in and of itself. So then there's the programming of the building, if you will, and much of the city's focus is on recreational improvements to the building. Their intent is that they will get the building up and constructed, but the programming of the building itself for things like basketball courts, volleyball courts, all those recreation type things would be included in part of this tax election, as well as a long-term maintenance fund, which has always been an issue with this facility for the city. The breakdown of the initial funding is $100,000 for an additional police officer and other expenditures to offsets for the police department, $160,000 for Sky High Park, and $140,000 for Public Works. Actual revenues from the additional sales tax will vary over the years. We have an initial estimate, and I will explain that the 1 cent we project is more than we actually anticipate collecting. But under Tabor law, you have to make an estimate that's more than you think you'll get, because otherwise you have to refund the differential if it's above. So it is stated more than what would actually be available. So most of you might know that we have about 29 miles of streets, 7.5 are arterials, and 21.4 miles are local streets. Of the 29 miles or so, there's 3 miles of dirt roads. The remaining roads are paved, but over 65% of them rate in the lower fair to poor range of our street condition. As you recall, the Public Works Department did a street condition assessment, and those numbers are based on that. Our current budget only allows for maintenance items such as patch material. Although this year in the budget, we are paving a street, which is done. And, people have been calling because there's surveyors out there. Robin and the engineers are working on putting that project together. And it'll be a test for how we can continue to roll out paving projects in the community. And I'm not going to read everything line by line. It's in your packet, and, you don't have enough time to listen to me yammer on that long. But essentially, our test pavement project is a 24-foot wide, 3-inch asphalt mat. So most of our right-of-ways are a lot wider than 24 feet. But the biggest issue on the dirt streets is primarily the driving surface and the fact that it creates dust and it's difficult to maintain in the winter, et cetera. So our test project will feature this kind of paving scheme. We'll look at it. It's going to be designed so it's durable and will work. It will not go curb to curb. In some places, we don't have curb and gutter and sidewalk, and that adds a lot to the cost of the street. But however, while we're working on paving a street, we'll also be looking at the water and sewer infrastructure for those streets. So within those tax dollars, if it's approved by the voters, primary paving will be important, but also we'll look at patching, paving, chip sealing, other items for our existing streets. And there's streets that with a little bit of extra TLC, we can keep them in a decent condition and, not lose the pavement surface. And in other ones, they'll need a little bit more. So as you can see, the goals are very clear for Public Works. It would increase the overall pavement conditions in the town from fair to poor and from fair to good. This would improve our streets drastically, and over time, we'd also do drainage improvements, so there'd be no standing water after every rain event. That's a long-term goal. As you know, we're pretty flat, and so drainage is an issue after a rain event or after we have a spring snow, and like we did this year, where then it's melting and there's a lot of water. So you can see from this graph our historical street expenditures, and they're pretty small. They average less than, I don't know what the average is there, $40,000 a year perhaps. In some years we spend a little bit more, but it's a pretty small amount of money that's available from the general fund. And I will point out, why would we ask for money from the taxpayers for paving? Unlike the water and sewer enterprises, which charge direct fees for use of the services, there's no fee for using the streets. And there are really no sources of funds for street repair and maintenance. You can get a loan to work on a water system and pay that back with revenues, but you can't really get a loan per se to fix a street. Because where the revenues come, they come from the general tax dollars. So what we're trying to do is ask for a little bit more tax dollars so we can accomplish these tasks. Now, this is a look at projected street expenditures with the 1 cent and without the 1 cent. And so for 2020, we'd have $100,000, but if the 1 cent was approved, we'd have almost $250,000. And that would go up a little bit every year, but that's a heck of a lot different than the current problem we face with our pavement maintenance and paving programs. So sky high. One of the issues with that over the years has been maintenance costs, and the city has not been able to budget adequately for that. We've done what we can, and we had a pretty good budget number this year for it, but over the years, there's not been a dedicated stream. And, always the discussion is, well, you should charge the users enough to pay for the services. But if you look at what large buildings cost to maintain and operate, you've got the entire park there, it is difficult to actually put that fee directly on users. And if you look at larger municipalities that have these facilities, they do not charge the users what it costs. The cost of maintenance and operations is subsidized in some form, usually from their
sales tax that goes to recreation. And that sales tax is comes forth with over $700,000 a year. That is a big difference between not having it at all, and this would be an opportunity to have some of those funds. We talked about the Sky High Park, we're working on the building, and so this will also allow us to do the recreational programming, and really doing some improvements to how we currently do things. We span both youth and adult sport opportunities, particularly in our short. Now, in the worst case scenario, where if things don't work with the resident on Sky High, the new building is not built, this would allow us the latitude to restore and renovate the existing building. So it gives us an option if that doesn't work, that we have a way to preserve the payments. So for the police department, the roles are actually really, really straightforward. And additional full-time subs. That sounds like a pretty simple thing, but if we all have worked on the projects, and you see that, we do spend a lot on public safety. We need to spend some more on public safety, but when you take all the needs put together, it's really difficult to reach that next level. She's been very good at manpower management. We've been kind of creative, but getting to that next level of additional full-time officer is rather difficult. We believe we can do that with sometimes. We can also do some equipment upgrades. We have adequate equipment for our officers to be safe, but we have everything that we really need to be 21st century covered. So this certainly would be cheaper. So certainly these would be very useful. So let's talk a little bit about the general fund. We're talking about the general fund. Right, streets are part of the general fund. The price of the police is part of the general fund. Look at our entire revenue from the savings enterprise, our sewer funds, capital project fund, and the general fund. They're kind of broken in these categories. Water and sewer are fairly static. $1 million a year. We have $3.1 million in the general fund to fund basically everything else in the city. If you look at our general fund revenue, there's 5 services that do have general revenue. License and revenue, there's small taxes. Taxes are the largest source of our revenue. Sales tax is something that's increasing. Property tax is based on some of the actions of some long ago regulations put by the voters in the state of Colorado. Property tax revenues that we receive are actually increasing regardless of the assessed valuations. So that's what we're talking about. If you look at our general fund expenditures, costs are pretty equally split between the Public Works Administration, and we have the police department, a small amount for recreation, Sky High, and then ranches. So, that's the pie as it currently exists, and it won't change a lot. do additional things if the voters were to approve this motion. So this is a sales tax revenue. I kind of showed you where we're at in 2019 and where we've been going since 2015. And you can see that they have steadily increased over the past few years. Obviously, they have some volatility and it's not a sweeping line of revenue. Being about this time of year, which might not coincide with standing. So it kind of shows the importance of sales tax revenue. There's also some other needs for some of the other things we have on Sky High, like the Creating Festival and the Ag Conference. So those actually show a positive benefit to our people in sales tax. So this shows how the funds will be allocated for $1,000 for this operation, $140,000 for public works, and $160,000 for Sky High. That number would change if the voters approve it. The number would change over time as sales tax in general. As we got more sales tax revenues, the community grows, there's more sales tax, that would mean more money for each of those. So if we look at the surrounding sales tax rates, the aggregate rate income was currently 7.9%. They are going out to their voters this fall for a 0.5% increase. And that is actually interestingly enough for streets projects, very specific. So even though we all think that everything in Alamosa, we've got all that, but they still struggle with the same issues with streets that we do. So that's why they're going to their voters this fall for that. Down north, their city rate's 2%. Aggregate 7.5. They did take admission to voters last year for 2%, primarily for streets and home safety. So our aggregate rate is received by the voters will be 8.5%. It's not, voters in Alamosa approve theirs, they'll be 8.4%. I'm discouraged by the peak, but it's not a New York Lake high. Sales tax rate. Salida is a good example of that. They're kind of booming and they have 8.65%. Southport, interestingly enough, is 7.5%. So one of the things that would be created as a result of voter approval is a 1% committee. These funds would go into the fund and then we would consider projects. Projects would have to be in the three stated categories and the ratios, so there's X amount of money for police services, say we're looking at $100,000 in police department, present to that committee their ideas for that, and if it's straightforward, the police department in particular, one additional officer, and then other items that would have $100,000. So effectively, this tax, if it was approved by the voters, would go into effect in January of 2020. The actual revenues and expenditures of those funds would not actually come until 2021. Because this committee would have the opportunity to be creative, appointed, work with the departments that are affected and the city council to come up with projects that are specific to those funds, and that would be on a yearly basis. So that committee can form, we can get together, and we have slide on how that would work. The city would continue for each department that would be affected by this to fund them at their current levels. So the city would have be backing off the current levels of funding for any of those departments. Those would be maintained and sustained funding available, of course, but these would be additional. That's the whole point, is to have additional resources. So if we look at the timeline, January, February 2020, the Oversight Committee appeals to submit letters of interest. The council on the 21st of March, April, and May, the committee will meet with staff and come up with priorities based upon those discussions. Those will then be part of work sessions in August, the council proposal process. And so those recommendations will be incorporated into the city's budget. So, and it says contact the risk manager on questions. And if you're out doing these presentations, I'm certainly feel most of these. That's a good audience. That is. So the other part that you have in your package this evening, or actually this document, is the brochure. And so that's a draft brochure as well. But basically, it's a printout format that is more compact than the slideshow and used by secretary and the general public. And once we finalize this, if the council decides to go forward with this election, then the PowerPoint will be available on our website. The brochures will be available in City Hall for the list of people. I'm sure all have questions.
I think it's a good idea, straight off the top. Just look at the city, the structure of it. Something's got to change. But have a place to live.
Like I said, if you have any questions after you've had a chance to review it or anything that pops out, I think the one thing that we don't necessarily have in there is an explanation of the estimated tax revenues that will be on the ballot versus what the actual realized to be. That is a paper thing. Collect more than that. Let's say you collect $20 more than that. You have to create refund checks to all of bonus taxes. All whether they vote or not. So basically all customers, families, or businesses. So let's say it's $40 and then how many checks are you rejecting? That costs more than $40. That's how much
I think just looking at the brochure, one of the things that I would like to see on the brochure is more about the oversight committee, where it could be some about maybe being citizen-driven. You know, that the citizens actually have the input and the impact on how these monies within those 3 areas are going to be utilized, because I think that'll be, I think that could be a large selling point.
Looks pretty promising to me. It's time to sell it.
Oh, I have one. Can I ask one more question? And maybe it doesn't belong here, but talking about the streets and Rob's here. If we're looking at paving streets, if this passes and there's more money, how does the future of fiber optics in Monte Vista affect those streets being paved? Can they go block to block?
They can go by.
Okay.
What we would have to do is set up some sort of moratorium. I think the worst thing that we can do as a city is to pave the street. So, our recommendation council, 2-year moratorium, construction to take place.
On those newly paved streets?
Yeah, this, that have to sell, services and stuff, get that out there, we can work collectively. Because the street project's not just as simple as going curb to curb, putting, an average of 34 foot of asphalt. You can do that, but you also have to think of the underground.
Yeah, exactly.
Like water lines, the service lines, we have storm drains. All of those should be incorporated into the thing, and no different than what we're doing in Durham. We don't have the money, $100,000 to go in and put, we do part of the street service and maintenance act. When it's installed, then we would put another capital
Okay, okay, thanks, Rob. That makes more sense.
Just getting ready to tell you that. Citizen comments. City council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Please limit the comment to 3 minutes. Council will not take action at the same meeting. Margot. I know, she's so quiet, never talks.
I'm excited. Hi, everyone. It's good to be in city council again at this time. Anyway, the one big thing I have to say, Rob, you and your group have done the most outstanding job since I've been here for 6 years in the city. I have never seen the streets, the sidewalks, everything is so clean and so well done. Amazing job, just beautiful. So thank you so much. And I have 3 little issues. Okay, first issue, we have all that asphalt at Dairy Queen. Is that going to be like disappearing at some time? Or what is happening with the asphalt? That was my first thing, because it's really, they moved it from here to here. It's like, go away. You know. The other thing is, at the old Sonic, there's a truck now filled with stuff sitting there with an old car that looks like it got chewed up by big rats. And there's a bathtub and still stuff sitting there. It's better than it was, but the stuff is, why isn't that truck gone with the stuff on it? Okay, that was the other thing I had. And again, Bob, I'm working on that flower bed. We put 2 bushes in yesterday. Eric dug the holes, I put that in, and so we're slowly going to work on it. And then the other question I had, Mr. Attorney, are you a full-time member now, or is he still in? I just didn't know.
Still in.
Okay, just put that back out by you guys, you know what to do. And like I said, I am just absolutely stunned at how good our city is and how hard you guys have worked. Kudos to all of you. So it is amazing, and even individual people out there locally. Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Margot. Is there any other comments? Jim? You got any comments? No liquor licenses? Forest?
Give me leeway, Mr. Mayor, I'll address the asphalt issue here.
Thank you.
So, the paving contractor did a paving job, nice paving job, and they were supposed to grind that asphalt, recycle it onto the north side of the parking lot there, and then the machine broke. So, that's a discussion with the owner, Gary Queen, that cars also needs to fall through. It's a lot in the north, and they're waiting for a part to come from Kentucky or Germany or something. So anyway, in the interim, they did move that back against the building. That is a code issue, and we discussed it with them. So if the grinder taking out here this week or two, it'd be nice if they can get it recycled on that lot. So need a little leeway for that. I don't know. But
I was just curious.
I'll just give you background on it. I'm not going to like a theme for you, but essentially, we kind of had an issue, a historic issue here in the city regarding variances. What staff believes, what we deny for code variances here in the city, that our code does not give adequate guidance to the Board of Adjustments. I've looked at some historical ones that we've done here in the city that, you know, in my history of working in city planning departments and in regard to variances, I would question whether they met the intent of variances. And there's some very specific criteria that a property should meet, and our code kind of waives at those criteria rather than making them mandatory. Other places I worked, those are the criteria. They're set forward by the American Planning Association. They're used across the United States. You know, one of the biggest things is the hardship created by the property owner, rather than the property created the hardship. You know, there's a difference between historically somebody builds a house and we have a lot of these to tag in a lot. So they have a lot that's 50 feet deep by 120 wide, and they face the front of the street. And they, now they need to build a handicap. Well, the setback says 25. And that's not a hardship that is usually created by the existing property owner. So we can tell them you can't get a variance for that because you create a hardship. All the same, they live in the property, age there, you know, think that logically tells you they didn't put that hardship necessarily. So that's an area where you go, administratively, that seems like should be fine. Where somebody wants to keep an animal that's in violation of code on their property in the city, and they see variance, and that's approved, that's a hardship that's created by the property. And it's really not keeping the zoning in any kind of switching that nature. So what we're seeking tonight is for council to approve a moratorium while the city clerk and I do some research and get some other relevant codes in the state of Colorado to come up with one that is more concise, provides better guidance to the Board of Adjustments.
And we did ask this variance to go until December 31st. And then before December 31st, Forrest and I would have that ordinance put together and ready for you before then.
So the variance, is it just the variance, or is it permits? Like somebody wants a permit in the next 6 months to build a house?
No, so if they want to call the normal permitting process that does not require variance, which normal permits wouldn't, that doesn't involve any new construction, anything like that, other than where it would be in violation of code. So normal, we've got people who are building a house, I'm trying to meet with a gentleman right now who's got a subdivided lot, doesn't have room, to put a house on, you know, so all that stuff we continue to go forward. It's just where we have these issues, where, you know, they want to do something that who doesn't allow. And essentially a variance, then, you know, my job as city manager, and we have also just quite a bit, to say, wow, now this is what the code says, and the answer is no. So you can apply for a variance, with a city's opinion, but the variance is supposed to be based upon the facts of the situation, not just that we're happy with who that does result in this, but should we grant the variance honestly, unless there's specific criteria of the land itself that the variance.
I would motion to approve a moratorium on variances to extend it to 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve moratorium on the variances till December 31st, 2019. Is there any more discussion?
Other than that's 052019.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please add 05-2019. Nita?
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Counselor Segola? Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Who's up for the fee schedule?
That would be our city clerk.
Good evening, Council. Before you in your packet is Resolution Number 06-2019. It is a resolution requesting that you approve adopting the new fee schedule. This would replace the current fee schedule that's in Appendix 2F. And it is basically updating the current fee schedule that is, brings everything current. The fee schedule that's in our regulations now is very sparse and is not current. A couple of the things that we were looking at changing, one of them is the business license. Business license right now are $50 a year. We are looking at changing that to $25 a year. That is more in order with what everybody else charges around the valley. So that's one of the other things that we've looked at changing. The water, all the water stuff, water and sewer stuff is the same. We didn't change anything on that. We did add some information on the police department portion of it. They did the research fees that cost for them to do research. Video recording, audio recording, criminal history, background checks, just everything that they do, we've added on to there. We've also added on our new parking ticket fees, so that'll be added on there. And then we have a lot of people that, you know, what do you charge for criminal code violations? Our code says that the judge can charge up to $1,000, so we put that in there as well. So, and we also added the animal violation fees. So I ask that you look at this and approve this fee schedule so we can update our regulations.
So all of the changes to the fee schedule that we're approving tonight, those have all been researched and based on, is it just around the valley or the state? Does it vary?
Both.
Okay.
Both. And it was done with each individual department. So
Okay.
I gave the police department theirs. They came back with what they wanted. Donna and I worked on the city clerk stuff, the court clerk stuff with the judge. So all that has been researched. Like I said, the water and the sewer part of it isn't changing.
I'm guessing everything that's changed is highlighted.
Yes,
And none of, it's not highlighted, doesn't change.
correct.
I have a question. Chief, the sex offender deal, no charge? Is there an explanation why they don't have to pay to be registered?
So they do have to pay to be registered. There is a registration fee, there's not always a re-registration fee.
So if you go, see where it says sex offender registration record is no charge, but then go 3 lines down and you'll see sex offender registration, initial 75, annual 25, quarterly 25.
Okay.
Some of the records, who they pertain to, we're not allowed to charge, or we choose not to, but they're getting their own record, the registration.
Okay.
That goes over.
You may have your computer back.
And I just wanted to thank Donna for putting these together, because she actually took everybody's input and she put all this together for us.
I move to approve Resolution 06-2019 for the 2019-20 fee schedule. changes and updates.
And I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 06-2019 2019-2020 fee schedule. Is there any more discussion? Nita?
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Counselor Segola?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to approve. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work,
Yeah, I appreciate
Nita,
that.
and all the departments.
Good evening, Council. Before you tonight for a resolution is Resolution 07-2019, which is a resolution to approve and amend budget and appropriations of funds for the calendar year of 2019 to authorize expenditures and revenues for the General Fund, Kids Connection, Water Fund, and Sewer Fund. So as you can see in your packets, there's quite a bit, so I'm just going to kind of touch on the high points of it, and then ask that you approve the resolution. So the budget amendments that are included in here mainly reflect the wage study scale increase that we had, as well as accounting for some unexpected expenditures as far as capital projects go. So we have, it includes the pigeon remediation that we discussed at the last council meeting. It includes some improvements and repairs to things such as the Prospect pump that went down that was roughly $100,000. It also includes repairs to the street sweeper, which was $10,000, which is in the general fund. So each one of these amendments includes things like that. Do you guys have any questions regarding any of the information?
I read through it all. It all makes sense.
I move that we approve resolution number 07-2019, approving and amended budget and appropriation funds for the calendar year 2019.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve 07-2019 budget amendments. Is there any more discussion? Nita?
Counselor Segola?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to approve.
Thank you, Jen.
The council should all have copies of, I feel like number nine.
It's okay. So also there would be, as you guys know, we sent out for a request for a bid for an auditor as our contract with Logan and Associates was up for this year. We did not receive any other interest in it, so we would ask that you approve Logan and Associates for the next, I believe, 2022.
Single year plus an additional 4, so it would be through 2023, actually.
As our auditors.
How long have we used Logan Associates?
4 years. So, following the best practices, we
Yeah.
put it back out, and they're the only bidders. There was a minor increase in the single audit value, but very minor. So we seem to get good value from them, and it's a small firm. So we see the two principal auditors come here, do their thing.
And you believe it's a clean audit? They do a good job?
I think they do a phenomenal job. They're very thorough from what I've seen in the short time that I've been here. And as far as going to conferences and talking to other colleagues, the things that they do are very well aligned with best practices and what we require to do. They're very helpful. It's easy to get a hold of them if we have a question concerning what we want to do or a direction that we want to go. They're very helpful to give us a clear, concise, quick answer that keeps us working.
Is that common that you wouldn't get another response from that? Seems kind of surprising.
I think the last time that you guys sent it out for RFP, I think you only had 2, 3.
Actually, we had 4 the last time, but, you know, we advertised it on our normal methodologies, so we were a little surprised, but, you know, it's not a big audit as far as larger firms go.
And just a quick question, how long does that get this done for?
How long was it advertised? I believe,
It's almost a month.
yeah, almost 4 weeks.
I move to approve the awarding of the RFP for audit services to Logan and Associates.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the RFP for audit services for Logan and Associates. Is there any more discussion? Nita?
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Segola?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Jen. Who's doing the janitorial service?
So we put out an RFP for janitorial services. We had the bid open in May, last part of May. So it actually ran for quite some time. It actually is kind of a new RFP that we put out because it also includes maintenance, light building maintenance, like changing the light bulbs, not fixing the water bill where the water bill. It's just some light maintenance. We only had one person, one group submitted an RFP, and we would like to award that to White Glove.
Where are they located?
They're here in the office.
Did we not discuss and put something in the budget to have a full-time janitor to cover all the areas?
We'll let you take that.
See, you should have.
We did budget it for a full-time position. And the more we got into it, just didn't think that one person would be able to do all the buildings to include City Hall here, police department, the kids connection, and do the maintenance, whereas White Glove and Janitorial Service, they have that role. Contract that was, talking about, is within the budget that was assigned. So there is a little more additional cost for the same base. So, insurance, retirement, person.
Thank you, Rob.
I move to approve the RFP for the janitorial services to White Glove sanitation, White Glove janitorial service.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we award the RFP for janitorial service to White Glove. Is there any more discussion? Anita?
Counselor Segola? Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion is approved.
IGA with the Rio Grande Sheriff's Office for detention and jail facilities for municipal prisoners. Good to have you back.
So the IGA is a intergovernmental agreement that we have with the Rio Grande County Sheriff's Office. Myself, Chief, our city attorney, we all met over at Rio Grande Sheriff's Office with the sheriff, the undersheriff, and their attorney, and hashed out just different things that need to be in that agreement, which one of them includes if a defendant is picked up and detained and put into Rio Grande County and later needs medical attention, it's been agreed upon that Rio Grande County will take that person to the hospital and sit up with them up to 2 hours to allow our officers to be able to get to them. So those are the kinds of things that we sat down and went through. They did approve it on June 19th for Rio Grande County. So we're just asking them to.
So the county commissioners.
Yes, county commissioners approved it on the 19th.
I move to approve the IGA with the Rio Grande Sheriff's Office for detention and jail facilities for municipal prisoners.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the IGA with RGSO, Rio Grande Sheriff's Office, for detention and jail facilities for municipal prisoners. Is there any more discussion? Anita?
Counselor Segola?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Jenny?
You guys have been up with me for a year, so I suppose one more time.
Geez, it's been a year.
What's that?
Oh, nothing. It's been a year.
It's been a year.
It's,
My lovely shiny face.
yes, right. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it very much.
So before you for the financials tonight is a summary of where the city stands as of May 31st, 2019. As of that date, 41% of the year has lapsed. Revenues in the general fund are at 49%, which totals $1.5 million, and the largest source of income to the city is the tax revenue, almost $900,000. Expenditures in the general fund are at 40% of the approved budget, or $1.2 million. As of the month end, the general fund's portion of cash is $274,000. This is an increase of 15%, just from April to May. So, total unrestricted cash assets in the general fund are a little over $770,000. In the general fund, revenues exceeded expenditures by $266,000, increasing the fund balance to $1.1 million from $868,000 as of December 31st. This is a 31% increase in fund balance, and we'll just keep in mind that $103,000 is and the water fund revenues were at 39% of the approved budget, or $315,000, and the majority of that relates to transfer services, which is $1.4 million. Expenditures at the end of the month for the water fund were at 28%, or $436,000. As of May 31st, unrestricted cash for the water fund is $570,000. Expenditures exceeded revenues by $86,000, which brought the fund balance to $1.7 million. Again, just for our discussion, continue to see that through the year to capital projects. As of May 31st, the revenues in the sewer fund were at 60% of the approved budget,
expenditures as of month end for the sewer fund were at 25%, which equals out to $452,000. As of May 31st, the unrestricted cash for the sewer fund totaled $358,000. And revenues exceeded expenditures by $127,000, which brought the sewer fund's balance to $4 million. Questions on any of that?
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate what everybody's done to get us to this point. We're to staff proposals, reports, and actions. Forrest?
Greetings, Officer. So we covered most of my things that were in the memo to council. So I enjoyed your record, my season also. Liz Hensley, ASU, was elected as the president of the city council executive, which is a great honor. And they came down for a retreat. So it was nice to talk to you, talk to announce my boss, but longer. So it's fairly simple, so it's good. The only other thing that's in the packet from my report is the year report. Just a highlight of activities that I'm working with that's really good presenters this year. We've got some great information from local businesses. The SLP Summit. That's the day August 1st. I'll get that out to y'all. Post it over that. That was put on Junction, Georgia. There's a part of it. The city is a sponsor of that. It's put on Junction ASU and the city of Alamos as well. And it's pretty interesting. I think a lot of information about what they're doing as well as something about something that I had work, but I should just talk about the CPG. You might recall that Bill, the last leadership, Bill used to come and do citywide tours as a problem. This year, for the first time in Cincinnati, we're out because CPG revenue came down to the field trip. Which basically we're talking about things like hazardous material remediation, particularly the asbestos remediation, regulations that the city has. And it was interesting because they were in some other meetings to that, what it is here, and we were all saying the same thing. It's like the regulations are difficult to deal with minor amounts of hazardous material. We should actually clear money from this reduction to show the kind of that are interested that they need remediation, particularly in Corona. Can't afford to do it. So it's across the coast they have. No one said we should protect the environment, but it's really overly it was a good visit. We were late getting there because so anyway, that's really all I have.
Thank you, Forrest. Chief Rosecrans?
Mr. Mayor, City Council, good evening. Just the events to start with, City out with a cop, missed the last one, pretty well represented on my surgeon and the other officers. So the project is still going. I think attendance is a little bit down. I'd like to kind of have your thoughts on accumulating that and so think about it. Top shop. We're still going there. Neighborhood Watch, just a reminder, no meeting this month because next month is the August 6th National Night Out here in Chapel Park. If you're not there, it's a big deal that night. It's Tuesday night, 3 hours, it's going to be great weather. It's gotta be good. This is pretty cool. I don't know exactly what a QR code is, but that funky little thing in the bottom right-hand corner, that is what it is. And if you use that, that can get you straight to a podcast that I did with SLB Voices, which explains about 30 minutes of me talking, so that it would be good to get all the information about that night. Crime Stoppers raffle is still going. I'll talk a little bit more about Crime Stoppers later, but they're doing well. I think they're about $1,000 if I'm close for their raffle. That's pretty good odds. If you're not in that raffle, you're making a big mistake. It's a nice rifle. So far, unless they sell all the tickets. Any one of the board members, the Crime Stoppers, let me know. Canine fundraiser golf tournament is Saturday. This is your face. So that'd be another cool place to be. If you want to watch some of us make the golf clubs, that'd be good. If you want to be one of those people, you can be there as well. But it'd be fun. It's again about fundraising funds. I think we have at least 5 teams signed up right now. We have some really cool projects. Playing good golf is not how you get one. Showing up and buying a raffle ticket is a surprise. You don't have to be a good golfer. Keep hearing that. I'm not a good golfer. Don't be golfer. That's probably what it's going to be. Some hacks on it. For Canine fundraising, the Outdoor Depot event in Southport, we raised $5,000 for us.
Wow.
Just over $4,300, I think, for the Canine fund, and around $700. Pretty amazing event. A lot of outpouring of help, not only for that event, but for the golf tournament as well. So it was really a bonus. I don't know how to put them together, but it'll probably be somewhere between $7,000 and $9,000. Pretty huge, and that's right out of the budget. Pretty exciting. It's hard work, but it's a lot of fun. Stampede, I didn't put any dates or any events just because we just wanted to throw it out there that I think we're ready. Maybe not had quite as much interaction with the committees as we had hoped, but we're going off a lot of past, and for the most part, I think we're kind of ready. We all want to improve that in the future. Figuring out how we can have better communication and planning with all large events associated with the Sky High, especially if some of the things go through. More events, more things going on. I think it's just more important to have one standard protocol. I'm sure more. Statistics, they're all over the place. June calls for service were actually down, but we were busier more nights. Between the calls in progress were way up. Tickets and traffic stops were way up. Some of that because of our grants. June was busy. We, in fact, today we got person's doing the package off the porch, and it's all so there's a lot of things going out there, and we're staying below a 5-year average. We're at 18 burglaries right now. I hate to use that number because it's going to slap me in the face if I'm not careful. It's one of those numbers that consistently is reported as burglary. Thefts are tricky. Larcenies are tricky. There's a lot of stats that are hard to kind of follow, but we nationally, we were terrible. Statewide, we were terrible in the number of burglaries. And we significantly reduced those, and we stayed down. And I think it's because we have a 66% clearance rate of burglaries. So that is probably part of the reason why. Hopefully we can keep that up and maintain those lower numbers. Our thefts are down as well, but again, those can be tricky with different reporting requirements. thefts, shoplifts, thefts from the car. Thefts are kind of tricky because they're all over the place. But the crime reporting statistics, the NIBRS, which is the national requirements, we're putting those in, and those include burglary and far below, I don't know, far below every community in the valley, but the larger communities we're staying below. So the median on this is very much higher. CACP conference, I told you I was coming back to tell you what they had to say specifically with regard to the emergency protection orders and the red flag mess. It's continuing to be a mess. The law is 29 pages, so imagine that in one particular thing. It's a low-level misdemeanor, and it's the first time police have ever been involved in a civil issue. So it's new ground for us. It's very low crime, and it involves one of the most dangerous things cops can do, going into a person's castle. So I don't know where this is going. I can just say I'm not a big fan of doing the actual sessions, but I am a big fan of the fact that we have to get a hold of question about that. That was the second large topic at the conference. These statistics, they're nationwide statistics, but they were kind of broken down into Colorado and produced by a number of professionals, psychiatric people, police mental health workers, public mental health workers. So again, I have some references for these, so if any of these trigger you and you want to know more about them, let me know. But I thought this was very telling of what we deal with, why it's such an issue. The average in Colorado for mental illness, minor mental illness, is 25%. So 1 in 4. In jail, 80%. 8 out of 10. You kind of extrapolate what that probably means. A lot of lines were not necessarily drawn, but when you talk about 80% of people in jail have a minor mental health issue, mental illness, and somewhere in the number of 57% have a major mental health. There's a pretty direct correlation between mental health and what that looks like. 80% again, which there's probably a correlation here as well, incarcerated DOC members have a traumatic brain injury. 80%. That's pretty amazing. National, 50% of prison inmates have a mental illness. 74% of Colorado prison inmates have a substance abuse disorder. Currently. That kind of gives you an idea. So while I am a cop, and I love being a cop, I'm chased back at me because I think crime is wrong. I wonder where it's from. I'm wondering less where it's from. Not from makeup necessarily, not because you're a foreign criminal, but something tied to either what has happened to you and how that's transpired over the chemical makeup that makes mental illness pretty significant. So I think we were the only agency at the CACP conference involved in it. There's only 4 in the state. There's 6 in the country. So having to talk about mental health, red flag, lead, and how we're trying to deal with crime, I think it's pretty telling that we're doing kind of the full circle of trying to help with crime. And when you talk about lead, we've really only been involved since April. We did a little bit of work in March. And we have more than half the numbers of referrals already been out. So we have 15 or 16, I couldn't quite tell on my phone which ones were active or not, because we got capacity. But that's still pretty good because Alamosa's been involved over a year, and they're, I think, between 25 and 30. We're more than half of what they've done in the institution. And I think that's not kudos to the department, it's kudos to the fact that the officers are recognizing that. I don't think I would have recognized that. Chase the bad guys because he ran, and that's what I did. So I really appreciate my guys, I appreciate the support from the community. I really do think that if we're going to prevent crime, we need to harden ourselves with targets and figure out this piece. Those numbers are huge. Most of those offenders not a reason, but they have a direct tie to
Excuse me, what did you say the brain trauma percentage was?
80%, yeah, it's in
Wow.
DOC. Right along with that, the governor just turned possession into Vista. It won't take effect for a little while. It's 4 grams and less. There's some other stipulations. That's another. That law is like, well, the Urbo law, 27. So I'll dig more into that. I don't know what we're going to do with the courts. I really don't think we should take it municipally. I think that's a mistake. Because of the services required for addiction. Again, we're talking about addiction. We have no business trying to, not that we wouldn't like to, we just don't have the money to properly help drug addicts. We really don't. The county struggle is enough. It's not to throw, it's not to shirk our responsibility. I just think it's the only way that we can get help. But it really is about addiction, potentially mental health, and all those other reasons. We really have no business. So there'll be more thought, more discussion about that. But it is going to change how we do business. And I really don't know what it looks like yet. Talk about our IGA with the sheriff and who we're going to put in jail and why and what that might do to his numbers. And so there's going to be a lot of kind of learning over the next few months. Simple possession and how that affects how that affects our crime rates, how that just kind of affects everything. Because I do think that both sides of that. There's the deterrent back to the felony. There's the simple fact that there's a populace. I really don't know. It's kind of interesting. Internally, no staffing changes. So if you see the post for positions, Force has been awesome about understanding that attrition in cop work is a fact. Nationwide, it's about 12%. So we will lose, as an agency, lose at least a copy just by statistics. Probably more than that in some years. So after we got over the hump of the mid-year, we got an over-hire request. It's a long process just to get a copy. So we are hiring, but it's not because we're short. Brandon Stevens graduated second phase, so I'm excited to do that. Code enforcement, yes, we have made improvements. And we do have staffing changes there. So we see that. I won't give you my opinion because it won't be politically correct. But we are moving a body around the city. So we didn't lose a body, we sure lost a good bodies. Last thing, before you forget to spend all your play money, we do have Crime Stoppers that is always looking for donations. And then one that I think is dear to me is the Fallen Heroes, Colorado Fallen Heroes Foundation. We pray we never need them, but should we really need them bad. We need a donation. If we ever lose a line of duty officer, they would basically handle everything. And that's a significant funeral and potentially bringing in family members and friends and the whole process that it goes to do something like this job. It can be pretty daunting. And I know as an agency, we would do our best, but we couldn't really handle it. So they would be first on my list of all. More than willing to do anything you guys can do to those two causes would be appreciated. And that's my report.
How much did we give to them last year?
5 each or 5 for Fallen Heroes.
Jen?
I do. Are any of the sheriff's offices talking about lead? Because when you think about some of the drug use and drug problems that are going on, there's a large portion of those that are out in the county. And so I was just curious if Rio Grande or any of the other sheriff's office were exploring that.
So technically, our rollout, and I always leave everybody else out, but technically the rollout into Rio Grande County was us, Rio Grande County Sheriff, that's all. So they've been given the exact same pilot policies, planning, outreach. We have an in-house case manager here. We definitely embraced it, more probably than the other two agencies. We've seen the benefits of that, and I don't know exactly where they are in their programs for sure, but it has been rolled out.
Okay.
And on top of that, the sheriff, I don't know where it is, but he mentioned it a couple times, he is in the process of doing some outreach inside. So we wouldn't call it lead, but he is doing I know he's doing some medical assisted treatment, MAT they call it, where they're using some of the drugs to try to help the receptors to kind of change how they need and want drugs, or how the drugs affect the brain. So they are doing some stuff with the courts and with mental health professionals to try to help inside, so that there's not this jump back into society, but more of a reintegration back into society. I don't know what it looks like exactly, but I know it's a big fan of it, and it makes a lot of sense. Every opioid OD, I think, other than one that since I remember being here, was a recent incarceration. It really is telling how much that forced sobriety changes a person. Without, you don't have that structure, then you're right back to the old way. No ramp, no parachute, nothing. And do their same old thing. So that's a good thing that he's working on. Hopefully those are also the kind of people that they will put into people. We've kind of changed the rule on legal because we accept a lot of referrals. Law enforcement is the only referral entity. However, we take a lot of input from anyone who wants to walk into our case management referral. That's in the system. Judge, defense attorney, and the staff, that individual, based on what we can figure out from their criminal history, their addiction or issues, their community presence, their past criminal record, all those things are brought into the fold, and there's a decision made about whether they're an appropriate candidate for lead, or if they need additional services. So that's been pretty fun. So including Judge Zoller, she's made direct recommendations to the staffing committee that says, because she'll see things that we won't, the county judge and the municipal judge, she'll see those things. So I think there is effects in the county, and I don't really know how much the county agency is doing. Lead is a tricky animal. There's a lot of contention about the old school cop thought. No, they need to go to jail. No, that doesn't make any sense. Why should we spend money on that as opposed to this? It's a really large shift that I think is easy for some and hard for others. We have our own officers that are not real proactive or real accepting of some change as well. They've seen some of the results and seen some of the effort that they work hard. Those state managers, they don't take up for an answer. And when they do, it's usually tough love. They call, you know what, they really don't count. And they think that's what they need, structure, cares, and just that no matter what, take it or meet them at when it's driving. I have to say the city's really stepped up. Their car, office, internet service, that's things that almost we did a lot to try to get this working effective here. And it's open to South Florida. She's still a case manager.
Thank you, Chief.
Oh, sure.
Donations.
We want to talk about donations for the fallen heroes and Crime Stoppers.
You still have the funds in there, correct?
Same as like I agree with
It might be more appropriate if you do.
I would like to move to make a donation to $500 to the fallen heroes and $10 to the Crime Stoppers out of the city council.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we donate $500 to the Colorado Fallen Heroes Foundation and $300 to the Crime Stoppers out of the city council funds. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Counselor Segola? Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to approve.
Aye, you're a good salesman, Chief. Rob?
I didn't prepare a written report for you this time. It's really been working on getting things ready for state. You guys are extremely hard last month. So, as the chief said, we are, for the most part, this week we did the Senate. As we can. So, like I said, all month. Really what I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about tonight is the future for our parks. Previous councils have kind of prioritized some future capital construction in our parks. Skate park being the first one. First project we did at the park, Montez Park, skate park. It's got two other sides. And there were two other priorities that we mentioned, and I don't think we've ever discussed those with council. So I'd kind of like to get your thoughts on that tonight. The eastern half of the other side of Montez Park is supposed to be a splash pad. West side, closer to the railroad tracks where they actually cross 160, it's supposed to be a BMX kind of a pump track or a push track. We've never, as far as staff and council, have really discussed where your priorities are. Continue that. That is something that this council would like to continue. I'd like to get your permission tonight to start having conversations with Madison and Wilco to start looking at a planning grant. Kind of give you an example. So the money that we spent as far as our skate park, almost a skate park. And that would be where I would like to go. Planning grant is very first spring is the deadline for that. In order for us to receive monies and have to have guarantee from council that we're going to have matching funds available next year. As we do the budget process, it's the time to do that. We can sit down with Madison and Wilco and start talking about plans, start giving some ideas of contracts and what other entities have paid for their planning for Splash Park. So when budget season does come, we can have fairly legitimate numbers member actually has a discussion. We would like to see in Splash Park with the community. We had really good community involvement in the skate park. Several of the local contractors donated tons of time, material, concrete, all kinds of things to make that skate park that was same type scenario with the Splash Park, participation. Like I said, we've never had that discussion. I don't know if you guys have your own thoughts. The two items that have been kind of rolling around for the last 10 years, skate park is completed, Splash Park,
I like the idea.
I would put a splash park over a BMX park to start with.
I'd like to see both of those
Yeah.
out there. The only, my only concern is space. Is there enough, especially for the BMX side?
BMX, I think we need to look at a different location, simply because we have the railroad tracks there.
Yeah.
And the original design and stuff that was talked about was making it walk directly across the tracks, that western half of Monte Park, and that poses a little problem for the railroad. There's several other locations in town or something like that.
I know, like, just my childhood, you know, living here in Monte Vista, I was a fish. I grew up at the swimming pool, you know, and if I wasn't at the swimming pool, I was over there by the sewer lagoon, you know, not actually in the ditch, but there's where the sewer lagoon is, and then there's that field right next to it, what we used to call the jungle, you know, and then further south, before you get to that new road that, I don't know, I'm not sure what that road is, right there, almost by Mr. Peace, right there. But anyways, we used to call it the hills, and there was just a dirt track back there, big hill, tracks go back and forth like this, you know, circles, and that's where I spent like till I was like 13 or 14, you know, swimming and riding my bike, you know, and I think that's like so important, you know, nowadays, especially like for the kids, you know, because what is there?
I think that does go to the crime. It's right. Skate park and tag. It's been since cleaned up. Skate park being in the sidewalk there from the outside benches. Every day, possibly, this is.
I was just gonna say, you know, like my personal opinion about the splash park and the BMX is I really like both ideas, which like I really do. I love them both. But just me personally, I would probably want to prioritize the BMX park first. And the only reason is because, you know what, like we have less time to grab hold of these kids than we do when little kids are really going to a splash park. You know, just because like I'm looking at my own kids, you know, who are 14 and 12, and thinking about things that they're wanting to do as far as recreation. You know, are they going to want to go to a splash park? How much time do I have with my kids before they, you know, wander off on their own? Versus my 4-year-old and my 8-year-old, or my 6-year-old and my 8-year-old now that go to the splash park. You know, when I still have time to, you know, kind of. So, anyways, just one.
If we were thinking about a splash park along the highway, what kind of parking issues?
We have a
For the
parking lot
motoring.
there, the skate park, that I would like to see our service going for sure. Those operations that we have. We can also turn the western half of that park into parking lot there as well. Track off the highway and also the skate park does a good job of bringing people and some stop.
Right.
They stop and skate and they start downtown. Other things, that was probably not something we thought about. First, the skate park we thought we came about, but it is definitely I can tell you from when we were building, we had 6 guys from Arizona that was traveling through, and their entire thing was installed at the state's best skate parks. And Monte Vista was actually just going to be passed through until they saw us there. They stopped, but the bowl wasn't ready that night. Stayed in the hotels, ate at the restaurants, and stayed at the bowl the next morning before they went fishing.
Wow.
So like I said, it does bring in outside folks.
Yeah.
I think the splash park, especially right there on 160, is visible. It is also good.
I even want to stomp in that tomato.
And that's a nice little.
Yeah,
And
it
that's
is.
what I'm saying. I think we can do some really wonderful things, the way the community came together for the skate park. I think we can come together more so for a splash park.
Because people are missing the water.
Well, and I think this is a good opportunity. Planning grant, that will roll right into more of the local action construction grant. That will be set, and we'll give a chance to voice their opinions, determine what features and functions that we want to see in the splash park. Do something really good.
Just a quick question, since because I've been thinking too, you know, like what can we do to bring people here, you know? Kind of a drag that our summers are 2 months long, or 2 months long now.
2 weeks.
Right, you know, but like the BMX park, you know, like I've thought about that before. I've thought about like places where we could take our kids sledding, you know, because like everybody disappears to the mountains, and I took my kids to the mountains sledding when we had some snow, and they like got tired, you know, like I don't want to go anymore. I'm like, well, that's 2 passes, man, come on, you know. So, you know, just I've even, you know, like I don't know what the position is on everybody in the city, but I think it'd be awesome to have an awesome like BMX track or something, you know, to where like I don't know, maybe get a circuit coming through here, you know, to where like it's a nice track and there's a bunch of kids coming through that, you know, because I know a bunch of kids that are in baseball and on basketball and they're traveling teams, and man, their parents.
There's actually a mountain bike, it's in the valley that they go out, mountain bikes. And that's something we didn't tailor the track more towards the mountain and the features. And that's one of the things you can create, instead of having the walls, the rocks, the things that you find in the mountains. You can create those same type of features that give those kids the training to be out in the mountains through through a track, pump tracks are more designed for where you pump the bicycle and not actually pedal. Its motion and momentum carries you through. More of a BMX, you have jumps, you have the things that you can find more in the mountains. And it also features more kids. If you go to a skate park in the day, probably 6 out of the 10 users are riding bikes, BMX bikes. Those are on the razors and the skateboards. And they made it very clear that all 3 of those are acceptable in your skate park. If I move forward with the green splash park.
One or the other, or both.
Well, it was prioritized skate park, then a splash park, and then the idea of BMX course came up and then as third priority. And then we switched and went full gear into we, as far as the city, did 2 phases of the one park. And we needs to work on the 3rd phase, which is basically making the trail and constantly have needs and bringing some areas of our parks. That's not an option for the overall fund. So that's not something we as a city go super grants for. We can't go super grants for this splash park, what they call street parks. I agree, but I think the splash park, if I did, in my mind, the second priority would be the skate park. Everything here, we would at least the planning phase this next year for that. Work out that good design for parking, also for the features, and do it in the water conservation.
My first priority would be the splash park. It's kind of it's a pretty close toss-up, but.
Yeah, I'm all for it, for either one, you know?
Sure like this, and we're eventually believing for both
And
anyhow, so.
I think it's very real, Jeffrey said we could change, and actually have all 3 skate
Yeah.
parks. BMX course and splash park. Just do it in a timely fashion, bring it here now. So it's all these parks and councils. Discussions with Mass and
I think that'd be great.
Do you have an idea if we're thinking about maybe a larger BMX mountain bike course where there would be more land available to do that?
we have a large section over there off of 6th Avenue, it's not utilized, it is city property. It would also serve as more of a community neighborhood park for that area, because if you think about that area of town, there really isn't at all. They either have it from all the way to the highway, 160, Monte Park, Marsh, across the highway, the Sonic, the other parks are either in Lariat or in Chapel. So that would give us a community park, or call it a neighborhood park, to the western half of town. It's got a lot of land, it's flat, a whole lot of things there, creating structures, the hills, valleys, jumps, all stuff. That would be the choice. Large part of the town. So it's a large section.
Right.
I mean, the options for BMX are all over. Again, Montez and Chapman, right on 160, entrances to both our town, both places are great spots. The Splash Park, Chapman. That is the highest.
I like that idea.
Kathy, did you have anything?
Nope, you've got my questions. Okay.
We haven't done anything with safety stuff, so.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Tell all the guys, everyone, thank you.
It's the climax of the year, man. It's the climax of the year.
Margo, for that's going to be not know. We have a little park garden in Shoalmire for the last few years. Margo has personally taken it upon herself during her life. So, and just she's doing it out.
May I ask a question? Is there a concrete base under that element? Because every time Eric went down this far, he had salt.
We found in that section of 60, it's the very same thing, much across the railroad tracks. We found concrete pads all the way through 160. All the way up to Jefferson.
This, well, I'm, every morning at work.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you, Rob. City Clerk?
So I'm actually just going to be very brief this evening. I was at conference all week last week, so this week's with nothing to report council, so we'll have a bigger, better report for you next council meeting. Just kind of wanted to touch on what the chief said with the new laws changing. The judge isn't allowed to issue bench warrants on anything that's less than a felony or a principal misdemeanor. So that's making it a lot harder in the courtroom right now, because in the past, we could issue bench warrants for felony misdemeanor. We can't do that. So unless it's a class 4 felony, it's really hard to issue warrants. A lot is changing. Trying to figure out where to go. So it is wonderful with that. The only other thing I wanted to mention tonight is elections are coming around, and we finally got the election calendar all put together at the conference this last week, and it's out. So I will be hosting an open house on August 6th, and that is for any candidate who is wanting to run. We have 2 council seats that are open. And so on August 6th, they'll have an open house. Anybody interested can come, pick up their packets. We'll run through a little mock council meeting just so people can get a feel to what it's like, give them the history of Monte Vista, what council does, what departments do, just inform the candidates who are really important. And then they will have their packets that night, and then on August 7th, they can start sending out invitations to our clients. And then those will have to be turned in on August 27th.
What time is this?
We'll do the open house at 6 p.m.
National Night Out.
Oh. Forgot all about that.
Thanks for that. You were on the tug of war team, so.
Okay, so I'll actually, we'll redo that, and I'll have a little open house at National Night Out, and people can pick up their packets I'll put something together so you can for a national night out. But that is the official night. That is the night that I have to present those packets.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Good catch.
You're welcome, Chief. Get more people there.
Good catch.
IT, while you're walking up here, this needs help, and it's not the loose nut behind the keyboard today.
Good evening, council. How's it going, guys?
Good.
A little while since I've been spoken in front of you, but glad to be back. Switched off with mission. So it's good to see you. So we've been working on some time clock hardware. We have a time clock installed in public works building. Pretty exciting. National Night Out, we'll be bringing the drone. It seems to be a crowd favorite. Speaking of the drone, we actually used the drone this past month to take some pictures of the rain. So we had some flooding on those sites. There's probably some interesting pictures of parking lot by the wildlife management area. Pretty cool stuff. We worked with Jeffco 911 Conveyance. Jefferson County had purchased 2 large cabinets, $4,000 cabinets that store server equipment, cabinets, ventilated, protected sides, really nice cabinets. They even donated to the city of Alamos and the city of Alamos to own those cabinets. So we have one of the cabinets, I believe, was the one used for the camera system. We have, so we used one of those for the camera system that we have installed at Sky High. What camera system at Sky High was completed last week with the help of the city of Alamos is running an intern project. We had 2 interns volunteering in our department, and we were able to use their help to set up this camera system. The goal that we had for the bylaw was to get the camera system. It's great. So we also took a look at the camera system and the scheme that was set up. Was originally done by different vendors. We're still in the process of trying to find out upgrades on our central backup software, so making sure that everything electronic-wise is safely secured and backed up. For the police department, we worked on consolidating the room table, which is terminal IDs for mobile to terminals that are in police vehicles. Originally assigned to COVID, so all terminals were using the same ID. That was what the CPI split those up into individual terminal IDs for officers. So that's pretty much wraps it up. Any questions? Let's go over your talk here shortly.
I'll leave mine to me.
Okay. All right. All right. That's all I have for you.
Thank you. It was good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Okay, council committee, city commission, and council reports. Ladies first.
Well, Chief handed me these as I walked through the door. So there's one I got. And you're welcome all over town. And hope that we will have more people than we did last year. That's the goal. And a lot of fun activities planned. And I had an email from Colette Scaff, and they're going to be there. Rotary's going to be there as well. So they're planning a table, and they're going to be joining us. The only other thing is August 27th, I believe, is the celebration. It's going to be just a small celebration at Carnegie Library for the 100th anniversary of the library. And they have received donations from El Pomar, I believe, and they're going to be replacing the doors in the front of the library. So there'll be new. They're going to keep the old historic doors, and they're going to have some really nice new storm doors, if you will, that'll be easier for patrons to get through, and that will all be part of that 100th anniversary. So that date may change. There was an email that came through the other day.
Is there a certain time?
No, not yet, not that I know of. But I'll get, once that all gets firmed up, because representatives from El Pomar are coming down for that as well. So when that all gets finalized, I'll let you know.
This kind of reminds me of the time capsule. That's what.
2080. Yeah, really old.
So will you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder, Mayor. So will you?
Yeah.
I don't have anything
Gary?
No, not really. Just want to reiterate National Night Out coming up very quickly, and of course the 98th Stampede Rodeo. So need to. We got a lot of good things that are going on, like what Rob was talking about, with some things that are changing in your town, possibilities and potential. The things are just looking up, and we need to get out and support these activities and show that support, actually doing something. And thank you, Margot, for being a leader in that arena. So, no, you do good work. Appreciate you.
I love it.
And I guess we need to thank Nita. I'm not sure who is arranging for help for the ladies doing the gardens. That was Rob. But I think that help was greatly appreciated.
Who does a young man helped me at Info Center. David, yes. What a delight that man was. And the help he gave in the hour he worked, you can send him over anytime. He was amazing. So I was a little scared when, I thought, what if it's one of those geeky kids? But he was just amazing. I didn't know how to deal with it, but he was a joy to work with. Yes. So thank you, whoever got it set up.
Whoever got it. Oh, and welcome to our new reporter. Yes. What's your name again?
Rebecca Copley.
Is there family there?
Sounds like an immediate family.
Almost.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Good to have you. You probably shouldn't write everything we say, because it just takes you a long time. Yeah.
Good tip, boss.
I'm going to go over quite a bit of stuff. Since nobody else wanted to talk, I will. Public Works, doing a great job. Seeing those guys out there, kudos to them. So I hope they watch us or somebody pass the word on. They are doing a good job. Police department's doing a great job. Every non-emergency call I've sent in, they've been there. So I appreciate that. Water conservation still. Everybody knows that we're on their water restrictions, and I've had complaints about that still. But you know what? We're doing our part for the environment, so I'm very proud of the fact that the city of Monte Vista stood their ground on that, because it could go away as fast as we got it this year. That CML dinner that Forrest and I were at, when we were invited, I thought it was just the local mayors from the counties, city, municipalities in the valley. It was seriously represented by the Front Range. Seriously represented. Denver, Greeley, Fort Collins, Steamboat was there, right? Steamboat. And then a few of the smaller, and there was someone from eastern Colorado, was that Lahana? And when there's, yeah, up northeast. Very well represented, and it's really surprised me because I'm walking in there and I'm thinking, I don't know a lot of these people. Now I know why. But it was interesting to seeing the other people that are in these positions. Stampede, Gary, get out and celebrate. Margot, I will be looking for you to be at these events.
Do my best.
I expect to see you at the dance too. Always be attentive to your surroundings, people. Here in town, I've seen some fine folks that I haven't normally seen, and the hours that they keep are not so good, but I think it's just locals that are roaming the alleys, might I say. But be attentive. The package that was stolen today.
Was that your son?
No, it was not my son. It wasn't my, huh? Oh, the help? No, it was a friend of my daughter's though, because he called my daughter to tell her what was going on, and he was following him down the street. I was kind of upset because I missed it. I like being involved in that stuff, right, Chief?
Chris had it all on film, and he wanted to thank the young man who followed him. So thank you
Yeah.
very much.
You'd have to ask my daughter what his name is. I can't remember, but
That gives you a part that other people are looking at. The town is changing.
They had a ring doorbell.
Yeah?
really,
Not only did they point us in the right direction, we had
but the young man that did that, being friends with my daughter, I come home one day at lunch and I see this strange vehicle turn in my driveway. Tinted windows, looks pretty shady. Let's just say when he met me, he's still afraid of me.
Chris is very thankful that there are kind people who watch out for their town.
We do, very much so.
I've also heard from a few citizens, they've made comments about the police department, I think it's getting better. It's getting better. I'm like, okay, cool. So
There's a lot of good things coming to Monte Vista. People just have to be patient for it. I do not personally like the way that government rolls because it's too slow as far as I'm concerned. Well, I'm sure we'd all agree, but we have to be patient with it. And I think it's great. I see some new faces here. You folks just recently moved here, I take it?
Yes, we did. In fact, we met your wife at the meeting at the library, Jennifer.
Yes.
For the food grant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact, she was going to introduce us to you today.
She went to a softball game with my daughter.
But yeah, we just moved here till June 21st from Felton, Colorado.
Welcome.
Welcome.
So a lot of things you guys are talking about, we can amend them now, like licensing dog, water restrictions.
I mean, if you don't mind, that's the one thing, I mean, we're hearing a lot of stuff, being a new residents here. It would be great that, you know, maybe if the new residents, there had some type of information package for them. I had no idea there were water restrictions here. I was told, what do you want, as much as you want.
Oh, somebody was setting you up to see the code officer.
I don't know, but, you know, we're having a hard time trying to get information about the city. You know, thank God we're here tonight, but things to do, the events coming up, you know, it doesn't seem to be like, unless you're right here, you don't hear about these things. Well, unless you're talking to somebody that you know, like your wife gave us a lot of information. Maybe some way to get information out to new residents.
That would be.
So they know, yeah, these parks you're talking, where's this park at?
Sky High?
Sky High, don't even know where that's at. I mean, that's,
Yeah,
maybe a little information package that new residents would really help. So they know what things are going on.
the chamber should have some of that information as well, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to,
There's a really nice company, I guess, their business here, Monte Vista, is called San Luis Valley Voices. This is SLVvoices.com. And they do podcasts, they've got calendars for all events, and it's a really great resource to know about what's going on in Monte Vista and the Valley as a whole.
They're also on Facebook. I don't know if you guys do Facebook.
Good for you.
We used to do that, but what about the newspaper? We heard.
Their local newspaper there?
yeah,
What's it called?
you got the Monte Vista Journal. Yeah, that's the local one.
And the post office.
And it comes out every Wednesday.
And we are about 10 years behind over here, you know. So we're slowly trying to catch up, you know.
Small town in Michigan, I love it.
But we welcome, you know, welcome to Monte Vista. Appreciate you guys moving here. It's awesome.
It's, well, and there's stuff going on this weekend as well, and I hate to put a pitch in, but it's Manassas Pioneer Days, right?
Yeah.
Lager Days, yeah, Lager Days in South Fork.
Is that Southport?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to that.
Lager Days, Pioneer Days.
We've just been told for the big event coming up here, look out, because there's going to be a
Sky High Stampede.
Rose, that used to live
We live at 249 Broadway, the house we bought.
Everybody seems to know her. That's it.
But there's a brick wall.
She was a
building back
council
there.
member first.
Oh, yeah.
So we live right on Broadway, and we're saying all that's.
I mean, that's a high traffic area, definitely.
High traffic, fast traffic.
Hey, it's not the same thing.
Margot, you had your turn.
You know, maybe if we all have questions about the city, you can either come in and see me or call me at the city, or city clerk in advance. Between the two of us, we either get answers for you, or we have other folks that have answers for you, we'd be happy to help you out. I have talked to you, Mr. Nuremberg, about roofing permits, and how that go about doing that. Great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Very- So, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Jim, there's a lot of good folks right in this community, I can tell you that. What else I got? You might be getting off the hook now, guys. Yep. Just enjoy the stampede, be safe, look out for your neighbor, pay attention to your surroundings. And this meeting will be adjourned until August.
Let me go. Commercial plug really quick.
Yes, sir, you may.
So, this First Fast building, Green Brews will be open for Stampede.
Nice.
So, coffee shop and the tap room will be open for stampede. They'll be getting a tavern license, a special event permit, so they'll be fully open for all the stampede, and that's right at the corner of Adams and 160.
Corner from the two banks.
Yeah. Really cool building, and if they're finished with their renovations, I was in there like 2 weeks ago. It's stunning, so.
I peeked in there yesterday going back from lunch, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, speaking of new buildings, the gym down here, I don't know if anybody's been in there recently. They have refinished everything. What's the name of it?
next gen,
Next gen?
Next generation.
The floor is completely redone, they remodeled in there. It's fantastic. I forgot all about that, but I went in there just the other day. It looks great.
your morning workout?
Oh, yeah. You better believe it. I picked up my ladder and carried it out.
All right. You're welcome. Meeting adjourned till August 1st.